Ayush, we're waiting for you.
Hey,
Hi,
how are you?
good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
How is the lockdown treating you?
Actually,
You
quite
don't
nice.
see, yeah, you don't seem to be locked down at all.
No, no, not at all. I'm in the factory working, enjoying. So yeah, everything's good.
Okay, great, fantastic. Good to have you here, Ayush. Everyone's been waiting for you. I was playing a lovely track called Ishmael, which is one of my favorite tracks, and I think a few people enjoyed it. So that's what I heard. So trying to get this party started with you. So,
Good, good.
we're very excited to have you here. I had a lovely Insta session last week with Baatein, and that went off really well. And I'm
Mhm.
hoping to see lots and lots more industrial designers here. And I'm, yes, absolutely. Okay, so guys, I'm going to take 2 minutes to introduce Ayush very, very quickly. And then after that, I believe Ayush is in his factory and he is going to give you a little surprise tour. So, Ayush, you're a furniture and Indian design force to reckon with. You are talented, relentless, pragmatic, a successful businessman, a family man, and one of India's leading designers. Based in Jaipur, you founded AKFD in 1998, if I'm not wrong, and have since designed and delivered unique objects, furniture, and spaces. Ayush is a graduate from NID, as all of you know, and on behalf of the entire NID community, I can say that it's a privilege to have you here with us, and we're all very excited for you to share your journey with us. I think I think let's start this talk. And if you want, you can tell us a little bit about your journey growing up, and then maybe we can move to the factory.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Vritima. So firstly, I'm very happy to be here. I love talking to fellow designers, particularly people who are also studying. There's so many things that we kind of learn on the route, which is not required. There are many things that we can share and help the designers younger than us to kind of jump that unnecessary step. So yeah, so as I finished NID in '98. Before that, I was a small town boy, dad doctor, mom school teacher. Super conservative. My sister became a doctor, so I kind of got off the hook. I did not need to be a doctor to, fulfill family ambitions. And with a very lucky streak, I got to know about NID through another furniture designer, Sameer Wheaton, and we used to swim in the same pool. So that's how I got to know about NID. And uh, you know, chance just happened that I kind of got in against all my own expectations. My parents were super scared कि ये बच्चा कहाँ जा रहा है, design क्या होता है. So I kind of had to be a force to get into NIT. I said यहाँ पे आऊँगा नहीं तो कहीं नहीं जाऊँगा. I did not get any of the other exams. My parents had high hopes कि IIT का exam देगा, कुछ बनेगा.
Yeah.
So I for that day I went to my friend's house and I said my like IIT का exam देने के लिए गया हूँ. Did not give it. So I
Well
was
done.
अगर हो जाता तो बहुत लफड़ा होता.
I know.
Can
Can you imagine?
होना नहीं था वैसे. There
और
was no
अगर
way
NID
होते.
में नहीं होता तो
तो सोचते क्या करना है, कुछ कर लेते.
I guess we got lucky because NID was also the only entrance exam that I gave. So I think we both got lucky, and I'm glad we did. Okay, great.
So
Fantastic. So are
so
we in
yes,
your workshop?
yes you
Are
are.
we in
You're in
your
my
studio
office
space?
workshop.
Can
If we
we?
walk around first, I can walk
Yeah,
around and talk both things.
yeah, that would be lovely. Okay, great. So is this
So,
your studio space where you sit out of?
so yeah, so this is my office where I sit
Okay.
and work. I just turn the camera. The camera's not turning yet. Okay, all right.
Upar, left button. Yeah.
ऊपर है ये नीचे नीचे कुछ गोल गोल दिखा रहा है. Very strange. Okay, doesn't matter.
Okay. All right.
This is kind of where I sit and work. This is my office. I have a nice window to look out into my workshop again. So that is what it is.
Oh, lovely.
And so it's a new workshop that we have. Let me try and figure this out. Good. Whatever. So
It's
yeah,
okay.
so
We
this
like
is,
seeing a little bit of you too. So
so this is where we sit and work. This is the rest of the office. We just moved in here right before the lockdown, and fortunately so, because we all have enough space to spread out and work.
so is this at the factory or this is near
This is at the
your home?
factory.
Okay.
This is in the factory. So my earlier office was at my home, and then my mom was getting very upset about it. So I said, let's move out. And
Fair,
that's the
because I
library.
remember visiting the studio, which was a part of the home.
Yeah. It's moved now. So the entire studio is here. The
Okay.
admin, accounts, logistics, all that is here. That's the library.
Lovely.
And we'll just we've just started growing our own veggies. So that is our vegetable patch.
How nice.
So if the carpenters अगर काम थोड़ा कम होगा तो भाई को खेती पे लगा दूंगा.
All right.
So I mean, a lot of the workshop is kind of like the highlight for me, and in many ways it's like the NID workshop.
Yeah.
We have a little courtyard out here for outdoor sitting, in case people want to also to get light in from the other side, otherwise it gets really deep.
So Ayush, while we walk, should I bother you with some questions?
Sure.
Okay, I'm being asked to turn off comments. Let's see.
Oh, we are here. So that's the workshop. So there's some sound happening out here. So that's people. So there's Hajar things happening. New pieces being made. That's new.
So Ayush, are you guys back at full strength? Is the labor back at full strength?
Yeah, the factory is back at full strength. Oh, almost.
Okay.
So that's a new chair that we just done.
Oh, how?
Yeah, so I think there's just too much sound out here. I'll get back to the office. It's a little quieter.
Maybe after 5:30 we can take a quick round.
Yeah, it'll be quite a lot quieter after that.
Yeah, definitely. So Ayush, I'm going to move on and I want to talk about your journey, and we're talking to the NID community, and I think it's very important for them to understand where you come from. And NID is where your vision started to solidify. We know that you were the only person in your batch. You've gone from being solo to employing and working with a very large team.
Yep.
How did you feel then? And did you feel that it worked in your advantage, being the only student in your batch? I think it'll be interesting for all of us to understand how you approached and perceived the lessons and culture of this institution and are now using them in your practice.
So, the one of the first things that I was told when I got to NID was they would not teach you anything except how to learn. And I've really taken that to heart. And I think it kind of held me in very good stead because when you're a only student, you're either no priority or you're full priority, both of which are not good. So, obviously I didn't have any studios, so there'd be one-on-one classes where I'd be sitting with the faculty in their office, doing whatever I'm supposed to be doing, had full attention, could not doze off, could not slack, had to come on time, blah, 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 blah. So it was a little stressful on that, but also a lot of the faculty gave me a lot of leeway and said, Acha, I would tell them, product designers, ye wala course kar rahe, main kar lun? They say, haan, kar lun. ceramics mein course chal raha hai, kar lo. I think I was a bit of an enthu cutlet, and I kind of harass them with questions or
Yeah,
with things, ye kiya, wo kiya. Generally
mm,
kind of talkative enthu cutlet typical types. So
right.
many of the teachers were very happy to get rid of me, and they could afford to also.
And that's also a
एक जने को
wonderful
तो
thing about NID, where you can, I think, you can always cross over, go to another discipline. If you have classes from only 12 to 1 or before lunch and you're free in the second half, I don't think any faculty in NID would refuse for you to come down and sit in your class. And
yeah,
I think that's a really wonderful thing about NID.
yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And um, I want to go on to, like, you've been working for a long time, and do you feel like the designers who come out of NID have an edge over the rest? And can you put your finger on one thing that NID, yeah,
They do have an edge over the rest. To start with,
right,
NID takes the smartest. So you're already the cream of the crop to start with.
right, right,
Beyond that, I think there's a lot of the NIT students have a drive which a lot of other people don't. They
right,
have a drive and an intellectual capability, which means that we can actually have a discussion. And it's good that the NIT students think about earthing from very many different aspects, like having a 360-degree view of any challenge is really really nice to see. Because I think that it's not to do with the teaching. I think it's got more to do with the student culture,
right,
of arguing, debating. There is a social politic also out there, which is very, very good.
right,
And the peer-to-peer learning is fantastic.
absolutely.
And one of the things that so I work in almost all possible materials,
Yeah,
and I think that is expressly due to the peer-to-peer learning, because I go to the ceramic studio and Mr. Bodiwala and I would not like me there at all. So I literally, I'd get out from the wood studio, walk around the
yeah,
parapet, and
yeah.
then come in because Mr. Bodiwala's office was right at the entrance. So
Yes,
I'd walk
yeah.
across.
Now I
So
think it's Nilima's office now, but at that point of time it's right
yeah,
outside the studio. But I
yeah,
believe you were also recognized for your work in ceramic in
yeah.
NID, if I'm not wrong. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So it wasn't really NID that recognized it. In fact, I had to fight my battles at NID.
Yeah,
I when I come back to Jaipur to Entu Cutlet to Entu Cutlet. So I would
yeah,
not sit at home. So I go to this person Kripal Singh Ji Shekhawat, who's a potter, blue pottery cutlet,
yeah,
and a very eminent potter and incredible. And
yeah,
I owe him a hell of a lot. And most important, I owe him my perspective on India and my respect for India itself. So I'd go to his workshop. I'd be there from I think 7 o'clock in the morning till about 9 o'clock in the night, just doing whatever. And he also slowly started warming up to me and allowed me to make things and experiment and play. And because of that work, I won the Charles Wallace India Fellowship, and the youngest ever recipient of that fellowship. And it came at a time when we were supposed to do our industrial training. So when I told NIT कि industrial training नहीं करना, मेरे को ये करना है, it was like, अच्छा, so you'll come back and do it again? Like what? Jump a semester? What is your plan? And incidentally, after the foundation year, we had to choose which discipline we wanted to go to,
right.
and nobody had selected ceramics.
Cool.
So
Okay.
Mr. Nayak was very, very keen that I join ceramics, like
Yeah,
really, really, really keen.
yeah,
And उस time मैंने, I was given the first option. I said furniture. Second option, I said graphic design, because उसमें तो कभी होना ही नहीं है.
yeah,
So I did not even list text ceramic anywhere because नहीं तो उनको फंसा देंगे.
yeah,
So it became additionally challenging because I won the fellowship for ceramic work, but not through NID. So I kind of had to play a slightly sort of political card and all that, throw my tantrums, beg, snobble in front of
the
NGD.
only child syndrome. I think it played to your advantage. I'm not going to lie. It
Yes,
definitely
indeed.
worked. You've definitely dabbled your hands over multiple things, and I think it's because of that you're able to do a lot more today, which is do multiple things at one time. Ayush, I think you shared a little bit about how you worked with master craftsmen, and you've been doing that for a very long time now. Do you feel um, you've been very passionate about Indian craft and design, and there's no doubt we see so much of this in such an honest manner in your work. Tell us a little bit about how to make Indian design befitting and unique.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Indian design what?
How to make Indian design. You have this knack for contemporizing Indian design and making it absolutely befitting and unique. Tell us a little bit about how you take Indian craft and design and make it your own.
The beauty of Indian craft and design is it is not an individual, it is everyone's. And if you see all the, like contemporary design and contemporary thought is always IP or ye mera hai or ye meri design and all that. So that sometimes comes in the way of actually celebrating what we have. Imagine जो जिसने सबसे पहला बनारसी साड़ी बनाई होगी उसने बोला नहीं और कोई नहीं बनाएगा. Would it have evolved? It wouldn't have.
Absolutely.
So I don't see myself as having done something unique or different. I just built on what was. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. And I think our craftspeople are giants because what they do is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yes.
And, I think, not that I've done much, but, whatever I've been able to do is because a lot of craftspeople open up and they share so openly. Like if today you want to go into a high-tech biotech lab and say, I want to see how you do things, are they ever going to tell you jack shit? No.
No, absolutely.
But these people do. They do.
Yes, they
share. Open up and they share so openly.
Correct.
And I think it is their large-heartedness that gives us designers the ability to work with them. And I think we often don't give them the due credit.
Due credit, absolutely. This NID's had a long culture of sharing as well. And I think it's wonderful that carries on into our work. And it's wonderful how you and I also share with each other. And I think I've had the wonderful opportunity of working and getting to know you and Gitanjali over the last 9 or 10 years. We worked together and we've had many interesting conversations on design, and we've shared some wonderful times together too. And I think in the last Baatein session, I was talking about a collaborative design process, and we've done some work together. So I think it would be interesting to also get your perspective on not just collaborating with your karigars and your craftsmen, but also other people in the industry. There's so many people who want to work with you. So how does one go about that?
Well, I love working with people because I really think design is in the dialogue. It is not one person at ivory tower thinking things. It is what happens in between. And, so I think the kind of collaborations I enjoy is free, unfettered sharing. This is what I think. I'm open. I like it. I don't like it. Doesn't matter. It's fine. And not be too tentative with the other person. अक्सर जब लोग काम करते हैं वो अगले के साथ टेंटिव हो जाते हैं ये बोलूंगा तो बुरा लगेगा that is the so it's this that is something I really enjoy but running something like what I do right now, it's kind of a beast that I have at my hands. The time is kind of limited, so I love collaborating and I do collaborate when I can, but it's something which I unfortunately have to be restricted on. But we work together a fair amount. We are quite fast at what we do, so we kind of fast forward the collaboration kind of
I don't think our work conversations have ever been longer than like 2 minutes. I'm not joking. Somehow, hey, I have to ask you a question. Okay, fine, all right. And it's sort of done with. And I think last time when we were I was online as well. I think I shared an image of you in the factory where you're standing like this, and I had come and we I remember coming for New Veda particularly, and I still call it one of my most favorite projects because the context was so unique for me, and I got to learn so much from Nitin and from you, and you were so open to have those design discussions with us. And I remember coming and we sat on your table with your mom and with Gitanjali, and we were sitting and we had breakfast first together, and it felt like I was a part of the family. Then we went down, we selected the products together, went for lunch. We went and then we took a round at the factory and we saw the shelving systems that you had prototyped. And it's just so unfortunate that the project never went through because it would have been an absolutely beautiful project. So how I worked with Ayush was we were selecting actually a lot of products from Anantaya for the store, and I was involved in the inventory aspect of things as well. So hence, I think that's when we really started working together a lot. Before that, we had done one brass screen when I was doing a project for Lotus.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, the first time that we went, and then, we had to get those little joints and the spacers done. And every time I think I get stuck in a project, I think I call you up. And when I need something magical to fit into this space, I say, okay, let me call up my magic man and like say, listen, Ayush, you have to do this. So this is where you come in, and it's really interesting because you have access to so much craft around you. You've done so much work in craft, and every product that you create has a sense of it does have a sense of uniqueness as well. And it's wonderful to see, how you make that little sketch and then it translates into a product. It will be, I think somewhere we should share that, Ayush, how we went from the sketch to the actual final piece. That would be quite lovely. Um, I have a full set of pictures of your guys assembling the product and actually hanging it in space. I don't have a final shot, but it would be really nice for you to share that on maybe on Instagram after this. So,
Sure.
moving on and continuing talking about collaborations. You've worked with the likes of Tom Dixon, and then there was AKMD, who and Mike was a close friend of yours, and that's still around. And then there was, I think, there were one or two more collaborations that happened in between. There was a Scandinavian brand, if I'm not wrong, called Matter, and then there was a French brand called Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you. You've done so much. Sorry, it's hard to keep track on what all you've done. And you look very young, Ayush. I have to say this, guys. Ayush looks like he's 31 years old, and we both look the same age, but he's way senior than me. So, okay, tell us about this. I'm not going to, digress, and just tell us a little bit about these collaborations that you've done and how you went about them.
So, I was, even when I was at NID, my first collaboration was with this Danish guy, and he wanted to make object in marble, a carved. He was a lighting designer.
Yeah.
And I was a student at NID, and he got me on, and I said, "हाँ मैं कर दूंगा." So I have this very unfortunate habit of saying yes to anything that I find mildly challenging. So, I made. So I felt it was a really nice. So I went and I made those objects, and he was very pleased with them, and that's kind of how I started. And in NID, we kind of sometimes get in awe of international design and international designers.
Correct.
And so, we kind of that awe went over कि हाँ भाई अपने जैसे सोचते हैं उनको भी कई बार कुछ चीजें नहीं आती, and we kind of figure it out for them.
Yeah.
And so it kind of continued, and word got around, people were talking about me, there's this guy who does things. So people knew me more as a problem shooter, that I can figure things out and get things done. And that's kind of how it started with Tom also. Now, Tom's ex-girlfriend was working with my uncle, and when I was going to Europe, she said, meet my friend Tom Dixon. So at that time, not many people knew him, but I said, हाँ ठीक है, मिल लूँगा, बात कर लूँगा. So I met him and whatever, and ever since his company started, I'm one of his oldest so-called vendors. And he's become a very good friend. He comes to India, he stays at our place. Like it's quite a good relationship. And I kind of did a lot of problem shooting for him. So the beat lights that we see were
Correct.
something that I kind of worked on.
Yes.
And in many cases, I'd literally work off a napkin. Like
Sorry, Ayush, I think your voice is a little muffled.
In many cases, I was thinking about a design time also about scaling up my business. And I did not want to risk that. कि मैं अपनी design करूँगा, इससे अच्छा उनका नाम रहे, उनकी design रहे, और वो लोग बेचे मेरे को production देते थे.
Bilkul.
So I built up a lot of my facilities on the back of a lot of these collaborations.
Yeah. Sorry, Ayush. Sorry, 1 second. You're inaudible. You're
I'm inaudible.
inaudible. Yeah, now
Okay.
you're audible, I think. Guys, can you just give a thumbs up if you can hear Ayush?
Okay. So,
Okay, great.
at one point, I started feeling that these collaborations are not going to make me grow anymore because they
Yeah,
were one-sided.
yeah,
And if I had to grow as a design person, because that is what I was doing in these relationships, I was putting in the design and the time and the problem shooting, the engineering, all that. And at one point, I said it doesn't work for me anymore because I'm never going to grow. I'll be capped,
correct.
and I live like a vendor, and that's it. And at that point, I wrapped up a lot of my collaborations and said, no, I'm not going to be producing things that are so-called yours, which
Right,
is, I like it, it's fine, but I will do what I can do. Because what happens is that these collaborations, they suck up everything of yours, your capital, your time, your facilities, everything. And then you're like literally like bonded labor
right.
for a little bit more money, but you're still
Yeah,
bonded. And
correct.
at one point, I said, no, it's not going to work for me. I can never grow. I'll be stymied and I'll be perpetually at somebody else's mercy. And
Right.
what happened was that I spotted a relation, like a pattern with these collaborations that they'd start with me. I do all
Yeah,
the problem solving, I'll do all the work, and then boom, when they get successful, I'm disposable. And it happened thrice with me, and I it was clear I'm never going to risk it again. And that is really where I started putting my energy into what we design and what we sell. And we insist that anybody who buys our product and sells it anywhere in the world, you sell it with my name or you don't sell it. Period.
yeah.
So it's been a difficult one because many people have said no, it doesn't work for us. So I said sorry, it doesn't work for me either. So let's figure.
Fantastic. So I think that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. You know, I want to talk about a little bit about NID does a lot of work with the government of India, and
Vritima, I need a little support from you. Just a second. I can't. I got a call in between, so I couldn't
okay,
hear you, and my sound is
yes,
gone. So can I log out
yes,
and log in again?
yes, absolutely. Let's do that.
Oops. Why can't I log out?
Yeah, bro, press the end button. Okay, wait, I'm gonna just throw you out of this call. Okay, guys, Ayush will be back.
Here I am again.
Hello. Okay, all right. I think an interesting discussion that I actually have very limited knowledge on, and because that's a lot of work that I have not done, is NID does a lot of work in craft and does a lot of work with the government. And at one point of time, we had craft documentation as a program, which was compulsory, I think, for all disciplines, for me, for you, even for the guys in film. That doesn't exist anymore at
Hmm.
NID.
Very
And
unfortunate.
very, very, very
Very, very
unfortunate. And
unfortunate.
this is something that I was sharing with the community last time, where I think even if NID doesn't do that, I think it's very important for every individual student to go back. You have the KFC, you have all the craft
Hmm.
talks more accessible. I mean,
Hmm.
what are a few things that NID students and just the whole NID community can do to engage more with craft in our country? Should these craft documentations become open to public? I mean, just a couple of thoughts.
So I mean, to start with, it's ridiculous that NID chooses to sit on those draft documentation for so many years.
Yeah,
It is criminal, I would say,
yeah,
because many of the crafts that have been documented have vanished. There's no
correct,
longer being practiced.
correct.
And we have allowed it to happen. NID has allowed it to happen because it has restricted that knowledge to itself.
Yes,
And that is one
absolutely,
thing I will never forgive NID for.
correct.
It was their single responsibility when Charles Eames came.
Yeah,
It was the founding reason for NID. And NID has abdicated it successively and throughout.
yeah.
And, I'm sorry, my blood is boiling.
I know. I can. I'm also. I mean, it makes me also angry, and I have not been able to do too much work in craft because of that. But yeah. So I mean, how can we go about?
So, the thing is that crafts are all around us. We live
Yes.
in a magical land. You walk down the street, there's somebody making jalebi. You
Yeah.
walk down the street, there's somebody cutting hair. Just a second. Hari ka sana ka number. So, we have things happening all around us. It is for us to be creative about it. The guy
Yeah.
making the jalebi, can he work with concrete? So when so many things are happening, so, and it does not require me to go to Bastar or to Jharkhand.
Yeah.
Just look at what is around you.
Yeah.
Because the skill of making and the skill of collaborating with the maker is what is really, really distinctive. And I think if all of us just step out of our homes, out of our workplaces, find the closest person who's making something, and just
Yes.
think about what we can get made. Mochi hoga, somebody is repairing a shoe. A guy who make, the most skilled tailors are the guys who make blouses, women's
Yeah.
blouses.
Yeah.
Because एक सल कहीं पे आता है वो women तांडव कर लेती. So the kind of skill that they have, or the structure of fabric, कौन सा fabric कैसा करेगा, is mind-boggling. There's
Absolutely.
so many
There's so
things we can
much to
do with it.
learn from the people around you. I do so much. I think a larger part of my work was interiors to begin with. And I can easily say, I mean, I worked with some of the best people in the country, but so much of what I have learned is from the karigars, from that mistri who's punning, doing the POP punning on my walls. And how
Right.
he's doing it. That's where the real joy is, learning from these people. So if anyone
Yeah.
asks me, who have I really learned from? I've learned from spending time and watching these guys build. So even
True.
like I know how to make furniture, and I made furniture when I was in college, but every time I go back to the workshop and I see these guys doing something their way, there is something new to learn, how they hold their tool. And I really wish, and I think that's a message I know you and I both want to give to this community and say, guys, get out there, do more work in craft, stop looking towards the West. I think for so many years, I don't even think it's our fault, for some we our entire history is about, aspiring to be like the West. And I think it's
Mm.
just a natural choice for people to look at, what's
Mm.
happening on all these portals. But I think if we all start looking within, there is just so much to do. And I think that's where I'm grateful for the education at NID, for the culture in NID, for
Yeah.
around us, for what
Mm.
people like you and I have done. We have gone back and we have taken that and we're working out here. And that's where I feel we really have an edge because,
Mm.
we've given this context literally on a platter. And it's
True.
completely up to us as to how we take it further, right?
Mm. Mm.
So, um, yeah, I think it's a very interesting thought, and I really hope a lot of kids in NID would like to take craft. I think a lot of people have a question, Ayush, how do they come and work with you?
Well,
NID
come,
kids, should,
come,
yeah? And I think
come. So,
everyone
so
wants
we are
to know
starting.
when, huh,
We are starting a very nice thing next year onwards. We are
okay,
starting an Anantaya and AKFD fellowship.
lovely.
And what it is that you have to think of an idea that is worth pursuing. Make it really strong. Think about it. Is it something you want to really make a difference in? Is it something you want to dedicate your life to? Come to us. We will help you do it. Because an
That's wonderful, Ayush.
internship is not for me. I mean, I don't think an internship means jack shit.
Yeah,
Kuch nahi aata. But if you have an idea that you believe in,
yeah,
we can help you craft it. And
wonderful.
a lot of the people who come and work with us, we put them they have free access to the entire office. You sit with accounts, you sit with contracts, you sit with sales, you sit with a workshop. Learn what you need to learn. Because I really believe that India needs 1,000 people like us. Not
Absolutely.
a
And
few.
I mean, there are great people doing great work, but I still feel there's still space for so many more people to come in. And I think, guys, industrial designers need to start coming out and doing more work
Yep.
around and
Yep.
for them to get visible. It's interesting. You mentioned accounts, you mentioned business, you mentioned a couple of other aspects, and I think that's something design management that NIE doesn't teach you. Could
Hmm.
you and you're, as I said earlier, you're a successful businessman. Can you share some challenges maybe that you faced in your business and some business related stuff? How does one, like an NID designer, I mean, I'm also clueless. I feel like कि कोई आके मेरा business संभाल ले, मैं design करती. I would just sit at the back and do that. So how does one balance business and design?
So I don't think business is any different than design, because it's just that you're organizing something else.
Yeah,
You're organizing numbers, you're organizing a system, that
yeah,
this is how it is to happen. So a simple thing like how is an estimate made?
yeah,
It's a system. You set in place a system, you see what is it that will make it run, and
yeah,
you see where is it that you need to monitor it. It's like you make a piece of furniture, you make a chair, you test it out, you see how the production is going to happen, you see how the packaging is going to happen, and if any client complains that the kursi toot gayi, you put it into how you change how you do the production. Accounts
yeah,
is no different. Yeah, I think it's more a fear of numbers and a fear of the precision of numbers. And so I enjoy things that are precise. And numbers, there's nothing more precise than numbers. It will add to what it adds to, period.
yeah,
So I think, and to be honest, if like when I started, there was no business I wanted to join because there was no job that made me do what I wanted to do, which is make
yeah,
furniture. And I figured कि खुद का काम कर लोगे तब तो मैं वो कर सकता हूँ जो मैं चाहता हूँ.
yeah,
नहीं तो not possible. And that is kind of when I said that, figure it out. Get your business in line, get your ducks in a row, get the right people to run it so you're not repeating it. It's also a lot about discovering what kind of person you are.
true.
So I enjoy process. I enjoy things that have integrity in how they're being done.
Yeah,
So, I enjoy that part. I don't enjoy running it. So set that part in place and find the right people to run it.
true.
And then it will manage. You just have to check it every now and then. The one thing that you have to do to run any business or any enterprise is to not be a boss,
Yeah,
is to be the leader and be inspiring. Because then the other people want to do what they're good at. Now, it'd be very silly if I try to tell an accountant ki aise nahi aise karo. It's kind of stupid, right?
yeah,
So instead,
absolutely.
instead I have to inspire them ki how can we do it better? You tell me.
Yeah, true. I think
So
that's
it's not
a
rocket
very
science, very
important
simple.
aspect. Yeah, so I think it's a very important aspect uh, to ask a better way to do things from either your accounts team or even from your own employees, right? There's so much to learn from them, and I think that learning and sharing culture, which maybe you missed out on in terms of when you were the only person in your batch, I think you're fulfilling that dream now. So I'm before I take lots and lots of questions, guys, please send your questions in. I think I want to ask you for one particular thing. We're all living in this surreal time, and everyone's talking about how we must use this time to reboot our creative energy and think about our journey and where we want to be. But to be honest with you, but there are so many people who I know who are going through an absolute creative block. Yeah. And have you faced any creative hurdles and how do you tackle them?
Not really. I mean, I
Gosh.
sometimes think creativity is overrated. Seriously, I'm a design person, but
Yeah.
I think we overrate creativity.
Yeah.
Just get on and do it. Just
Yeah.
hold a pencil and the ideas will come. Like, itna kya sochna.
Yeah.
So,
True.
this thing, like there's so much preciousness about ourselves, which is so disgusting. Seriously, and I'm from the design profession, and I know that we become so precious
Yeah.
about ourselves that we
Yeah.
forget to breathe. So,
True.
I think for all those people who have this creative block, just take a deep breath, and then it's fine.
सब ठीक हो जाएगा. So for all
हाँ,
those, yeah, so for all those young aspiring designers who are listening and who are like, oh my God, this is a hurdle in my career, just take a deep breath and keep just keep swimming, as I would
yep.
as I would say.
Be
Right?
at it. Be at
Be
it.
That's fantastic. Okay. All right. Ayush, I'm going to ask you quick 5 questions. And guys, can you please send in some questions that you have for Ayush? Let me open it up. Okay, we'll wait for a couple of more questions to come in. So, Ayush, an Indian craft you love working with?
Any Indian?
And one Indian craft you love working with?
I'm not falling for that one. I'm just not falling for that one. It's like, you ask my 3 daughters, which one do I love the most? You bet you will get an answer from me. No way.
I mean, someone has also asked, saying, what are the different type of crafts you have? Ayush, you want to name, okay, 5, 6
No.
crafts that you work with? Like, I think what everyone's asking for is a names of crafts.
Craft is a process. It is not a name. When we talk about blue pottery, it is from grinding to painting to making the vessel. It is many different things which manifest in a product. Are you asking what crafted product I like? Or are you asking what process I like, because it has multiple processes? So,
what process? I think let's talk about the process that you like.
So the process I like the most is throwing. Is the magical way in which a lump of clay becomes an object of absolute integrity.
Yeah.
It's complete. There's nothing adhura about it. There's nothing, agar hai to pura hai, agar toota hai to nahi hai. It's very simple. So as a process, that is the one process that I love and I can absorb myself in for forever.
That's wonderful.
But there are many, it's not, craft is not dhokra. Like, craft is not like blue pottery. It is just a series of processes that have been added together to come to a certain number. So, and craft is not out there. Craft is here in our hands.
Correct.
So, you're drawing, you're still crafting. Right?
Okay, maybe let me rephrase this entire thing. Okay, let's talk about one material. I know you're going to say this again, but we're not going to, your current, let's call it your current obsession. One material that you love working with.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ayush.
My current is wire. Is wire.
I think is wire.
Can you hear me?
Lovely.
Wire.
I can now.
Wire.
That's interesting.
How a thin piece of metal can do so much. So much. You can weave it into fine fabric. You can stress it, you can tense it, there's so much you can do. So, it's an obsession. Let me show you what I'm working on.
Okay, I usually think interesting.
So a project that I'm working on is a pavilion that is human scale. And this entire pavilion is made out of a chick made out of wires. This entire screen is wires. There's a light hanging beneath it, and the wires come down it's like a chick made with metal rods and wires weaving it. It's an outdoor pavilion, and that's the detailing of how the cables and all kind of work in. So I'm really enjoying. Should I show you a sample of the material?
Yes, absolutely. We want to see it. Oh, how lovely. Yes.
So it's supposed to be an outdoor pavilion, and creepers and plants are supposed to grow all over it. So that is what I'm working on. But really at any given point in time, there's so many things that are happening simultaneously. We're working we've designed a range of cutlery in cast metal. We've been working in, so these are some of the ongoing projects. We're working with glass, stone, bidri, ceramic. These are more wires out here, steel cables. There's glass, there's a swirly glass, which is absolutely fantastic. That's a range of ceramic, tableware that we've made. which is like lots of different size katoris which is stacked into one another. So kuch chal raha hai abhi. Like, you know, a lot of things are happening. This is another wire sample. This one. So this is all hand done.
Very interesting, Ayush.
So, and there's a fabric also which is lying somewhere, which is out of the same things, but it's a different kind of looping. So yeah, there's so many things that are going on. This is another new thing that we've just done. So these are from Etikopaka. These are pen cups with key hooks at the bottom. And these are little visiting card holders that we are. So these are from Chenapatna, sorry, not Etikopaka.
Yes.
So yeah, so kuch chal raha hai. There is,
oh, how lovely. Oh, there you are. Oh, this is wonderful. I think this was from Pool at Indian Design.
Yes. And another guy, just watch it. See.
Oh.
That's GU.
Yes. Oh my God, I almost failed to recognize it. I think I never had the chance to study with GU, but it was, I think, it was lovely for me, which was at Raw Collaborative last year when GU came and sat on one of my pieces. And I think that was the most wonderful thing that I could have asked for, which is when you make your first collection and you take it back and, you know, you're the teachers who've taught you. I remember GU took a folding session for the postgraduate batch, and I missed my folding session because I was in Pforzheim in Germany, and I remember just sitting there and just watching, you know, him, and I was like, I wish I had actually gotten to learn from him. Of course, he's reached a certain age, and I really wish that he was immortal and everyone could have learned from him, and I really hope his legacy inspires so many of us at NID. So you've been doing a lot of great work. There are Iram had one question, and she's written it 2 or 3 times, and she wants to know which are the crafts that have disappeared from the Indian market.
So many, you'd be surprised. So you know, generally a very good way to know what craft is vanishing, because what is vanished we don't even know about. But if the youngest practitioner of the craft is 45 years old, the craft is about to die, because the younger people have not taken it on, and that's the end. And within a craft also, it's not that a craft is a homogeneous practice. So जो बिदरी के अंदर जो पत्ती वाला काम होता है, which is when flat sheets are inlaid into the metal, that is a technique which is almost gone now. Nobody can do it anymore. There is koftकारी, which again is a technique which is done, जिसे enameling not enameling, damascening जो करते हैं. A lot of that is done with sheet. Sheet का जो manipulation है forms के अंदर, that particular aspect is almost gone. So ऐसा नहीं है कि craft एक साथ खत्म हो जाता है. Craft के कुछ pieces they start falling out. So for example in बनारस जो लूम बनाते हैं, अगर वो खत्म हो जाएंगे तो अपने को तो लगा कि लूम वीविंग तो हो रही है, but how the loom's going to get repaired? Right? So a craft does not fall off the map on its own. It slowly weathers off till the last one is gone. And there are many such. There are in Rajasthan जो lacquer work होता था, जैसे in Chenapatna, the lacquer work that you do, it used to happen extensively. तो एक technique होती है जो लहरिया करती है on lacquer, and it is done only in Bhuj now, and that too by very few people. That technique was common across Rajasthan. जो खुर्जा में जो अपन pottery अभी देखते हैं, that pottery is a very sad bastardization of a brilliant craft technique. खुर्जा में throw करके pottery करते थे और फिर उसको glaze करते थे. बल्कि glaze भी उनकी एक बहुत अलग टाइप की glaze होती थी. It was more like a slip. वो खत्म हो गई. तो अभी जो so crafts that we think are still surviving, they're not surviving in the form that they were. They are dead. They're industrialized, bastardized versions of it. In Gujarat जो बर्नी आती है ना, you seen burnies?
Yes.
वो burnies typically हाथ से बनाते हैं. and the handle is pulled and thrown.
Correct.
अब उसकी डायस बन गई है, दिखती वैसी है. But is the craft there anymore? No, done. Over.
It's done.
Right. So, we can't put a name to a craft as such. It's a series of processes.
Correct.
And to me, what makes a craft is when that process has a significant human component to it.
Absolutely.
It is not just a repetitive thing. जो कि पूरा machine अपने आप कर रही है. There's a human component.
Absolutely.
So it's I think that's one of the sad things that we've done is that we have made craft an item.
Correct.
It is not an item, it is a process. So when those women in Bhuj can do fine embroidery by counting the threads, can't they make great superconducting sort of PCBs? They can braze and make PCBs also. The skill to वही है. So I think there's this fluidity and this open-mindedness that we need of a skill that will make it a craft, that will innovate a craft, because जब तक अपन नहीं करेंगे तब तक it is like an animal in a zoo.
बिल्कुल.
कि हम देखो शेर देखने के लिए जाए, right? हम अजरक देखने के लिए जाए. What nonsense.
Yeah.
So just make it live, just make it live, make it grow, make it thrive, make it, give them the education that we've got, give them the opportunities that we've got.
Yeah.
Because despite everything, look at how they've survived. They've survived. That's a big deal.
That's
a very
true.
big
We
deal.
have. It's funny. I mean, like these processes are there at the grassroots level in our country, and it's available in abundance. And it's sad to see that how we're not utilizing it as much. And I think besides just design students, I think it's important for architecture and other disciplines to even start recognizing this entire thing to the fullest. I think if India design turns into India craft and design, or I think we need to work towards increasing also the demand of these processes in our country, which will then allow for this entire system to flourish in a beautiful way. Ayush, we have approximately 8 minutes left with you, and I think I want to take a couple of questions that people have had. Okay, let's just go back a bit. Your favorite part of studying at NID?
Favorite part?
Yeah.
So, behind the wood workshop, there used to be piles of plywood and wood and all that thrown out. So my favorite part was smuggling it in my bag, dal karke, getting it to my balcony and making light tables and selling it to the animation students.
I think that's a great thing to have done. Well done, Ayush. So we all know he's been a businessman from day one.
Baniya, it's in my blood, yeah.
Okay, all right. People are thanking you for keeping these crafts alive. A lot of someone's waiting for their NID result, and they're asking you for some advice. So whether they get in or they don't get in, do you have any words for them?
It doesn't matter if you don't get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you get it. It matters what you do with what you have, whatever you have. And design, to me, is not about an object. It's not about design. I think it's about the ability to organize. How do you organize something for some, when you do it for yourself, it's practice. Design is a practice. So आप अपने kitchen को organize करते हैं. But when you do it for somebody else, it is design as a profession where you have to organize. So Vritima, you organize spaces, right? You organize products that fit within the spaces because of what the client needs, right?
Yeah.
You will go to the extent of saying, I need to have a red colored, bed sheet to be put on it, right? You're organizing, period. So I think if you work on this simple word of organizing, NID just gives you a platform to organize a little better, to have greater thought. But if you really are a designer, you will organize in any case.